We are logging on to the station.
Okay.
You are on.
The meeting of the Committee on Accountability, Finance, and Personnel of the Board of School Directors will please come to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Director Carr?
Present.
Director O'Halloran?
Present.
Director Peterson?
Present.
Director Taylor?
Present.
And Chair Herndon?
Present.
We have 5 present.
Thank you. I will now ask the secretary to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Members, please mute your devices.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now have an announcement regarding interpretation for the Spanish-speaking members of the audience.
Buenas tardes. Para las personas que desean escuchar la Junta Escolar en español, por favor de llamar al teléfono 312-626-6799 y marcar el número de código 608-130-5362. Una vez más, el teléfono es 312-626-6799 y marcar el número de código 608-130-5362. Gracias.
Thank you. Pursuant to Board Rule 1.06, this meeting is being conducted virtually. Although board members may be participating from the Central Services Building. In order to allow as much public participation as possible, this meeting is also being broadcast on radio station WYMS 88.9 FM via live stream on the MPS website and on the MPS YouTube stream, the links to which may be found on the MPS website on the broadcast page. We will now move to our items of business. As stated in the public notice, individuals who wish to speak were required to register in advance. I ask those waiting to speak, please remain on the platform until you're called upon. Although we are on a virtual platform, we will still follow Robert's Rules of Order, which dictates that all comments should be directed to the chair. Also, any questions or requests, including those from board members or the administration, are to be directed toward the chair, who will determine the most efficient way to address them. As always, written testimony will be accepted for transmittal to the board. Written comments may be submitted to the board via the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53201-2181, or fax to 414-475-8071, or email it to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us. Finally, for our listening audience, if you wish to access this evening's agenda items and attachments online, you may also do so by visiting https://milwaukeepublic.ic-board.com/. Now let's begin, Madam Secretary. Item 1, please.
Item number 1 is action on monthly personnel matters, action on classified personnel transactions, action on certificated appointments, action on leaves of absence, the report on certificated resignations and classified retirements, and the affirmative action report. The administration recommends that the board approve the promotions, appointments, and leaves as listed in the attachments to this item to be effective upon board approval.
Will the administration please present this item?
Good evening, Chair Herndon and members of the committee. Keith Posley, Superintendent of Schools. We're asking for your approval of the monthly personnel items as well as the reporting items before you. Adrian Matalini is here with me this evening, and between the two of us, we can answer any questions that you may have in regards to this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? I see, Director Peterson.
Yes, thank you very much. I noticed that we've been able to hire a number of building helpers and kitchen staff. I'm pleased to see that. I was wondering if you could tell us the vacancies that we still have in those two areas. And I might ask for other areas as well, but building helpers and nutrition staff.
Administration.
Need some time.
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, we'll be more than happy to do that. She's running the report as we speak. So if there's other questions, if we could go to another question and come back to that one, please.
Okay, I see no other hands. So Director Peterson, would you like to do your follow-up at this time?
Yeah, I'm interested also in the teacher vacancies that we have and the paraprofessionals, if that's possible. Just encouraging listening audience, if you know people, to have them apply for our work at our district, because we'd like you to do so.
Absolutely. Administration, are we ready yet?
Herndon and members of the committee, I will turn it over to Adria Matalini, as well as Michael Harris will be walking in the door very briefly as well. Adria.
Thank you, Chair Herndon, Director Peterson, members of the committee, Adria Matalini, Chief of Human Resources. We are working on pulling the exact numbers of vacancies that we have, but as you particularly noted, Director Peterson, we have done some significant hiring when it comes to building service, our school safeties. We have done some significant hiring, so we've made progress on that. Teachers and paraprofessionals, I would say we still have, a high number of vacancies. The hiring is slower at this time when it comes to those two particular areas. But on our classified side, we've definitely had more of that progress when it comes to hiring and getting people onboarded and moving forward. Food service as well. I want to say when it comes to building service, we're looking at our last for building service helpers. I believe we were below 30. The last report that I saw, I recall correctly, we had below 30 building service helper vacancies. And again, we are constantly testing and having people put on a hiring list. When it comes to teachers and paras, the last report that I saw, I know we were roughly looking at around maybe 120 or so paras, and roughly maybe a little bit more than that when it comes to teachers. So we're still roughly hovering around the 100 mark, but we haven't had much progress on that. I'm sorry, was there another employee group that maybe I missed?
Director Peterson?
The nutrition workers, how many open vacancies?
Vacancies there for nutrition. I know we were over the 100 mark when it comes to food service assistant vacancies, but we have been definitely working hard to process people, hire people. I know we have some challenges when it comes to testing. Civil service requirements require that the food service assistants go through a test, and then we have to hire them through that process. And so we've been working to facilitate that testing with the food service assistants, and constantly are recruiting out there looking for individuals. I will say we've had success with our paraprofessionals. We have mentioned before, we have this ParaPro assessment. So people that don't have the 48 college credits, they can test and then they can become a paraprofessional. We've had, I want to say, close to 20 paras hired through that so far in the last few months. So we're very excited about that, and are going to continue to promote that, and on a regular basis offer the ParaPro test on site, so people then can become a para when before they couldn't, because they had that barrier of the college credits.
Chair.
Go
Chair
right
Herndon
ahead.
and members of the committee. One of the things that I would also add, however, the numbers are up a little bit in those employee groups. Each of those positions that we have worked to make sure we are able to fill those positions through substitute teachers, through teachers from here at that are housed here at 52nd and Valete, and as well as a number of agencies we use for our food service helpers, as well as our building service helpers. So those positions have been, we're covering through those situations, and just wanted to make you aware of that. Along with this week, well, actually today, started with a number of staff from central office that are out into schools as well on 2-hour blocks. You know, it's either before school lunch or either after school or either some special lesson or working and doing IEPs for teachers and things of that nature.
Thank you. Director Peterson.
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any more responses or questions from the committee? Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on this item?
Madam Chair, there's no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? I need a motion. Director O'Halloran.
I do have a motion, and I see superintendent's hand up as well. So it's up to you if you would like me to make a motion or if you would like to entertain the administration's comments before I make a motion.
Thank you. I'll entertain administration at this time,
Okay.
and then I'll come back to you.
All
Administration.
right. Thank you, Chair Herndon, members of the committee, Adrian Madeline, Chief of Human Resources. I've been able to pull up some more exact numbers for school safety. We currently have 30 vacancies, but we have 13 people that are pending in the hiring process. So that'll knock that down a bit. When it comes to food service assistants, there's 154 vacancies, but 57 are in process of the hiring, going through background check, physical, and all of that. So we'll be roughly around the 100 mark there. And it looks like we have 40 building service helpers exactly on that. And I'm looking at the teacher numbers. About 145, and then the paras we're looking at. I did one about 152.
Thank you. Okay, Director O'Halloran.
I move that we accept or approve administration's recommendation for promotions, appointments, and leaves as listed in the attachments to the item.
Is there further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the recommendation from the administration relative to action on monthly personnel matters, Director Carr.
Aye.
Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 2, action on recommended administrative appointments, promotions, reassignments, and reclassifications, and the salary increases and decreases, as well as the limited term employment contracts exceeding 60 days. The administration recommends that the board, 1, authorize the individuals to be promoted, reassigned, or reclassified, receive the salary increases or decreases, and be appointed to the classifications indicated in the attachments to this item to be effective upon board approval. And 2, to approve the limited term employment contracts exceeding 60 days pursuant to Administrative Policy 6.23, Parent 4, Parent B, to be effective as indicated in the attachment.
Will the administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, we're requesting your approval of the administrative appointments and LTE contracts that are before you. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time. Thank you.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director Peterson, I think you were first.
I move acceptance of the administration's recommendations.
Is there further discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Peterson's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the administrative appointments item, Director Carr,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor,
Aye.
and Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 3, action on negotiated collective bargaining agreements with PAMPS, Psychologists Association in the Milwaukee Public Schools, and MTEA, Milwaukee Teachers Education Association, and teachers, educational assistants, and bookkeepers and accountants. The recommendation is that the board adopt the collective bargaining agreements as outlined in the attachments to this item.
Will the administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, the item before you this evening is relative to a standard collective bargaining agreement concerning the base wages increase as required by state law. Adria Matalini and Teresa Farbird is here with me this afternoon, and we can answer any questions that you may have.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Carr?
Yes, thank you. So as we are considering the contracts that support school-based staff, I'm wondering, where are the ASC contracts? And for the listening audience, ASC stands for the Administrator and Supervisors Council that provides representation for school principals, assistant principals, and supervisors within MPS. So I'm wondering, where are those contracts?
Administration.
Chair Herndon, Director Carr, members of the committee, Adria Matalini, Chief Human Resources Officer. ASC is not a recognized collective bargaining unit by the WERC. Therefore, we cannot enter into a collective bargaining agreement with them. And therefore, there's no contract coming forward.
Director Carr, any follow-up?
No, thank you. Thank you for that.
Are there any more comments by committee members or questions? Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item?
Chair Herndon, I'll move approval.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Taylor's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the negotiated contracts, collective bargaining agreements with PAMPS and MTEA. Director Carr.
Aye.
Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 4, Action on a request to approve an incentive for fully vaccinated students ages 5 through 11 and a one-time bonus for staff. The recommendation is that the board authorize the following. Number one, a $100 vaccine incentive per student ages 5 through 11 that apply for the incentive and are fully vaccinated by January 14th, 2022. And two, a one-time $250 bonus per benefit eligible staff member.
Will administration please present this item?
Members of the committee, item number 4, request approval to provide a $100 vaccine incentive for students ages 5 to 11 and the same fashion as students ages 12 and older. This aligns with the recent approval for the children ages 5 to 11 deemed eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. In addition, the item requests approval of on a one-time bonus for benefit eligible staff to show our appreciation for the work that staff have done to continue and continues to do during this pandemic. Thank you.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just curious, is the staff bonus related to the vaccinations? And if they're not, why are they grouped together or listed collectively?
Administration.
You.
Chair Herndon, Director Carr, members of the committee, Asia Maleni, Chief Human Resources Officer. The staff bonus is not related to the vaccine. I know it might be a little bit confusing, lumped in with the student, but we thought this was an appropriate way because we're talking about staff, student incentives and staff incentives. And we know at one point there was a discussion, it was brought forward of doing incentives to both students and staff for vaccinations. But really, this bonus that we're looking at is really to recognize the impact that the pandemic has had on our staff and the extra effort and costs that they've had to incur related to the pandemic. And that's why we thought it was important to bring it forward to you tonight.
Thank you. Are there any more comments on this item? Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments on this item?
Madam Chair, I believe Director Taylor's hand is up. Her yellow, the hand is yellow and it's in the MPS circle. That's probably why you can't see it.
I'm trying to change it to the brown one.
Go right ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair Herndon. For administration, I know we talked before, I was wanting to know the number of our kitchen staff, and then what would be the cost if they were to be able to be included with that 250 bonus.
Administration.
Go ahead.
Chair Herndon, members of the committee, Martha Kreitzman, Chief Financial Officer. There is about 83 food service assistants that are part-time. So if they were included, it would be about almost $21,000.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Director Taylor?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Herndon. I guess I would like to see something where they are included as well. These are individuals, even throughout the pandemic, who continue to our family students, I believe, over a couple 100,000 meals throughout that time. So I don't know, Madam Secretary, how, or probably can't make an amendment on the floor, but how can we move it so that they are included in part of this incentive?
Madam Secretary, could you help us out here?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the committee. If I'm understanding Director Taylor's request, the language would be just to include the kitchen staff, kitchen workers, the part-time kitchen workers.
Okay,
That would be added to any motion to approve the item.
thank you. Director Peterson.
Thank you. I support what Director Taylor has asked for, and I do appreciate all the work by the kitchen workers and all the other employees in MPS. You know, there's been a lot of press nationally about the stress that people have been under, having to cover extra classes, do extra work, always in fear of getting the virus, and certainly sometimes having to take off because their kids might be at a school that's quarantined. So there's a lot of different features, and I want to just thank the staff, all staff in MPS, for how they've been working hard to get us through this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you. Administration, do you have a response or any additional input to this? If not, I'll move. Go right ahead.
And members of the committee, we will be more than happy to add the additional staff to and make sure that we have secure funding for the staff that's added.
Okay, Director Taylor.
I was just gonna, thank you, Chair Herndon. I was gonna move approval with that language that Madam Secretary said, but I believe the administration has already added it in.
Okay, Director Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Director Taylor, for bringing that up. I am definitely appreciative. And I feel horrible for not asking that question before as well. I now have a question about just the district staff overall, including the food service workers. Does that include everyone, or are there other part-time workers that or employees that should be included in this as well?
Administration.
Chair Herndon, Director Carr, members of the committee, Adrian Maleni, Chief Human Resources Officer. There are a variety of other part-time workers that work for the district that aren't included in this count. So there'll be part-time recreation. Again, those are individuals that may teach classes once a week or periodically, that they are not consistently working for us. Those folks, there might be the LTEs aren't included as well because they aren't benefit eligible. Those are the two big groups that I think of, and there may be some individuals, I'm trying to think, building service helper, there might be like 5 or 10 that are below the 30-hour threshold. They may work 20. I found out there's just a handful of those individuals, but those are the only ones that I could come up as not being included, in addition to substitute teachers, as they are not benefit eligible, except for the ones that are designated as subs with benefits. They are benefit eligible and they would get that bonus.
Okay. We've got the motion already. Director O'Halloran.
Thank you. Since it is just a handful of the building service helpers that would be fall below the 20-hour mark, I would see no reason to exclude them. I think it would be very meaningful. So I would ask the maker of the motion or administration if we could include them as well, please.
Administration.
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, we will be more than happy to add those additional staff that has been referenced to the item.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, we've already got the motion, or Madam Secretary, do we need to redo the motion to include these workers?
Madam Chair, you do have Matt Chasen in the queue, but so that the committee understands what you would be voting on, you would be voting to approve the administration's recommendation, which is an incentive for fully vaccinated students ages 5 through 11 and a one-time bonus for staff that's inclusive of all kitchen staff and building service helpers.
Thank you. Mr. Chasen.
Thank you, Chair Herndon, Matt Chasen, Office of Accountability and Efficiency. I was wondering if I might not be able to give the administration an opportunity to maybe present what an implementation plan might look like for these additional staff. We're talking about a group of individuals where there's high turnover. And I don't know if there's enough specificity in the direction to the administration to only apply that to employees who are active as of today or active as of a certain period. And I feel that in the absence of that, there may be individuals who might even reach out to my office to say that, hey, the board prescribed this action and I felt like I didn't get a piece of that. And if there's any additional clarity, or if the administration would like to maybe propose what they would like here, that would offer up some just clarity that I think the employee groups would appreciate if it could be offered.
Thank you. Administration.
Chair Herndon, Mr. Chasen, members of the committee, Adrian Maleni, Chief Human Resources Officer for MPS here. I want to reference that we're looking at having a payout being on December 24th paycheck. That's our goal. We think that's an appropriate time with the holidays that we can get it for our individuals. We will be pulling that information by December 1st. In order for that to get to payroll, to get that processing done in time for the December 24th paycheck.
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, that is true that they will have to have a start date prior to that particular time. So we are only individuals that have been working with us prior to that time. No one before that start today or before that time would be a part of that particular group.
Thank you. If there are no further questions from committee, Madam Secretary. Director O'Halloran, excuse me.
I just wanted to similarly bookend it, that if it's going out on the December 24th pay period, that I would assume it would only apply to those people who are currently employed with. So if you were previously employed in the school year, but not currently employed, you would not be receiving a paycheck. So people, just so that we're defining the parameters. Is my understanding correct then? Okay.
Administration.
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, that is correct.
Thank you. Madam Secretary.
The motion before the board is approval of the request for an incentive for fully vaccinated students ages 5 through 11 of $100, and a one-time bonus for staff, with the amendment to include the part-time kitchen workers, as well as the part-time building service helpers.
Okay.
Okay. On the motion as read into the record, Director Carr.
Aye.
Director O'Halloran.
Aye.
Director Peterson.
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
And Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 5, action on a request to approve the prevailing wages. The recommendation is that the board approve the attached prevailing wage rates as listed in the attachments to this item to be effective July 1st, 2021.
Will administration please present this item?
Herndon and members of the committee, in order to maintain a competitive wage rates for building trade workers, this item's request approval for prevailing wage effective July 1st of 2021. The attachments online affects the building trade groups. Thank you. and we are more than happy to answer any questions that you have.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions on this item? I see no hands. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no public testimony on this item. Madam Chair,
Yes.
also as a point of information, the prevailing wages typically come after, some people may be looking at the July 1st, 2021 date. That is an annual occurrence, as it takes time to get all of the information and make the recommendations to the board.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the committee with respect? I'm sorry, Director Peterson?
I just want to thank these workers. They're very important for our district. And they're sort of invisible sometimes unless you have a problem, and then they're not invisible anymore. So thank you for all those who may be listening. It's okay. I'll make a motion to approve the administration's recommendation.
Go ahead, please.
I so move.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? If not, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Peterson's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the prevailing wages, Director Carr,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor. Is she frozen?
Aye.
She is. And Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next item, please.
The next item is item number 6, action on monthly finance matters. Authorization to make purchases, the information reports on change orders in excess of $25,000, and emergency purchases due to COVID-19. The acceptance of the report of revenues and expenses, the monthly expenditure control report, the report on contracts under $50,000 and their cumulative totals, the report on COVID-19 expenditures, the report on monthly grant awards, and the acceptance of donations. The recommendation is that the board authorize the purchases and accept the donations as listed in the attachments to this item, with appropriate acknowledgement to be made on behalf of the board.
Will the administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, we are asking for your approval of the monthly finance matters. Before opening it up for questions, I would like to offer my gratitude to all of our generous donors who supported our schools and our students this month. Together, they gave $103,710.85 in donations. A big thank you to all of our donors this month, with a special thank you to our alumni for almost $6,000. At this time, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have pertaining to this item. Thank you.
Do committee members wish to ask questions or make comments at this time? I see no hands. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director O'Halloran.
I move we approve administration's recommendations for and authorize them for the purchases and accept the donations as listed.
Is there further discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to monthly finance matters, Director Carr? Director O'Halloran?
Aye.
Director Peterson?
Aye.
Director Taylor?
Aye.
Director Carr? Did I see her pop back on?
Mm-hmm.
Aye.
Okay, great. And Chair Herndon?
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 7, action on the award of professional services contracts. The recommendation is that the board authorize the professional services contract as set forth in the attachments to this item.
Will the administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the professional service contracts before you. Thank you.
Okay, do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions on this item? Okay, I see no hands. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director O'Halloran.
I move we approve administration's recommendation for the professional services contract.
Is there further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the professional services contracts. Director Carr,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor,
Aye.
and Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 8, action on the award of exception to bid contracts. The recommendation is that the board authorize the exception to bid contracts as set forth in the attachments to this item.
Will administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, tonight we are requesting your approval of the awards of the exception to bid contracts. We are happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time. Thank you.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I see that we are expected to vote on waiving the policy to extend this, and I'm just curious to know what the metrics are that would suggest or support that is it still a needed service?
Administration.
Chair Herndon, Director Carr, members of the committee, Janina Domchik, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. I would like a little more information as to which contract you're asking about. I apologize, but I'm not seeing a waiver on this section.
Director Carr.
Did I jump the gun? Are we on item 9, right?
Item 8 is where we are.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Next, I'll hold on.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay, thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments? Anyone else? If not, Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee? Director O'Halloran.
I move we approve administration's recommendation.
Is there any further discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the exception to bid contracts as set forth in the attachments to this item. Director Carr,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor,
Aye.
and Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 9, action on a request to waive administrative policy 3.09 parent 9 parent E and extend contracts with Follett School Solutions, Inc. and Mackin Educational Resources for library books and materials. The waiver request is based on continuity concerns stemming from projected supply chain issues. The recommendation is that the board authorize the waiver of administrative policy 3.09 parent 9 parent E and approve contract extensions for Follett School Solutions, Inc. and Mackin Educational Resources as set forth in the attachments to this item.
Will administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, this item requests a waiver of administrative policy 3.09 to extend the contracts for library books, materials, and other educational resources. We can answer any questions that you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Carr?
Now I'm in the right spot. Thank you.
Yes.
So my
Yes.
question is, we're asking to waive the policy to extend the contracts, and I'm curious to know what the metrics are. Do we have any data to support this?
Director Carr, members of the committee. Oh, sorry.
Go right ahead.
My apologies, Chair Herndon, Director Carr, members of the committee, Janina Domchuk, Director of Procurement and Risk Management. We did preliminary research because of the concerns that overall procurement has had with respect to supply chain issues that are impacting all areas of the goods and services that are needed for our district. And we have found that there is a paper shortage, there are transportation issues. So therefore, we believe that it's in the best interest of the district to extend this contract for one more year with both of these vendors who have indicated that they will work with us and supply us with our needs. And then next year we can review it when hopefully things calm down and we will have a better chance of getting better pricing and also product and availability.
Thank you, administration. That certainly makes sense to me. Director Carr, do you have a follow-up?
Makes sense to me with the short.
Okay. Great. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment?
Madam Chair, we have no public testimony on this item.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director Carr?
I move approval of the administration's recommendation.
Is there further discussion? If not, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Carr's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the contract extension for Follett School Solutions, Inc. and Mackin Educational Resources for library books and materials. Director Carr?
Aye.
Director O'Halloran?
Aye.
Director Peterson?
Aye.
Director Taylor?
Aye.
And Chair Herndon?
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 10, action on a request to waive administrative policy 3.09, parent 9, parent E, and issue contracts with ENA Services, LLC, CDW Government, LLC, and Sentinel Technologies, Inc. for E-rate services. The waiver request is based on the requirements of participation in the E-rate procurement program. The recommendation is that the board authorize the waiver of administrative policy 3.09, parent 9, parent E, and approve the contracts with ENA Services, LLC, CDW Government, LLC, and Sentinel Technologies, Inc., as set forth in the attachments to this item.
Will administration please present this item?
Yes, Chair Herndon and members of the committee. This item requests a waiver of administrative policy 3.09 to issue the contracts with internet access services for connectivity to support network reliability. We are happy to respond to any questions that you may have in regards to this item.
Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Okay, Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item? Director O'Halloran?
I move we authorize the waiver of the policy and approve the contracts as listed.
Is there further discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the request for a policy waiver and issuance of contracts with ENA Services, LLC, CDW Government, LLC, and Sentinel Technologies for E-rate services. Director Carr?
Aye.
Director O'Halloran?
Aye.
Director Peterson?
Aye.
Director Taylor?
Aye.
And Chair Herndon?
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 11, action on monthly facilities matters. The FMS award of construction contracts and the report with possible action on air quality. The recommendation is that the board approve the attached construction contracts and accept the air quality report.
Will administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, we're asking for your approval for the facilities and maintenance contracts that are before you. Sean Kane is here and we can respond to any questions that you may have regarding these items, as well as our monthly air quality report. Sean?
Thank you, Dr. Posley. Good evening, Chair Herndon, members of the committee. Sean Kane, Senior Director, Facilities and Maintenance Services. Since there aren't any questions about the recommendation letter, I will now proceed with the air quality updates. As mentioned in last month's report, FMS is continually working with our 4 current integrated project delivery contractors, IPD teams for short, that are approved in July. We've been meeting with them at a minimum weekly basis along with our owner's rep. At last month's committee meeting, I provided a template site investigation form that included assessment of mechanical systems, presence of bug screens, potential for outdoor classroom areas, condition of fire alarm systems, if sites had shared lockers, and review sites with carpeting and rooms that had early childhood programs. We'd like to consider that as phase 1 with our process. During the entire mornings this last Friday and yesterday, the FMS team met with our owner's representative team to review the recently submitted forms from all the IPD teams. The IPD teams have been working on these assessments for months now with their assigned sites. Overall, FMS and the owner's rep felt good with what we reviewed, but noticed some gaps in the reports. The owner's rep will be discussing our concerns with the IPD teams and reporting back. I do not consider a huge setback, especially after 3.5 months of services working with these teams. In addition, we've been compiling construction schedules and comparing them to school calendars with non-student days. FMS has met with the regional superintendent team to firm up scopes that can be done while school is in session. In order to get the best bang for our construction dollar in achieving and getting projects done, we need to be creative. During these meetings, a common theme of communication between the school leader and IPD will be very critical. The FMS team is in full agreement, and we're pursuing retired FMS employees to become limited term employees to act as liaisons for these projects. The reason being is that these individuals know the buildings, they know the school leaders, and they know the high expectations of our department that we have with safety and getting projects done on time. For this month's committee meeting, I did not provide any supporting documentation because I thought it was premature to share at this point. I hope to have more information to share at the next committee meeting, but I want to assure everyone we have a lot happening behind the scenes. That concludes my report, and I'm willing to answer any questions that someone may have.
Thank you. Director O'Halloran.
Thank you. Can you just speak about what an energy conservation corridor ceiling and lighting upgrade looks like, or what kind of changes the students would see, or what kind of savings we would possibly realize on the back end through these conservation efforts?
Administration.
Chair Herndon, Director O'Halloran, members of the committee, Sean Kane, Senior Director, Facilities and Maintenance Services. Conservation projects that just recently moved forward are the very similar ones that we just performed last summer, where we did Obama, some other sites where it's basically replacing the corridor and ceiling in all those instances. What does the great thing, it does reduce energy costs for a utility budget, and it not only it brings great light to the corridors and makes spaces much more brighter, and it actually makes it a better space. We also do know as well that we try to use these type of projects as educational pieces, working with our sustainability project specialists, and this is some of the stuff that we want to extend through. There's these 3 projects that we have currently right now, and we probably have another one forthcoming for Pulaski. And what we've tried to accomplish is tackling the entire high schools and all the entire district. The last one we really have left that we're looking to find ways to be creative and getting that included is probably Milwaukee High School of the Arts. But otherwise, we've gone through trying to do cafeterias, corridors, gym lighting, etc.
Thank you. Is there follow-up, Director O'Halloran?
No, thank you. I would like to move approval of administration's recommendation if there's nobody else wants to.
Thank you. Are there any other members that wish to make comments? Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director O'Halloran's motion to approve the administration's recommendation relative to the monthly facilities matters. Director Carr,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor,
Aye.
and Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item 12, which is a report with possible action regarding a school safety plan as required by the Wisconsin State Statute 118.07, Parent 4, Parent B, Parent M, and other associated requirements. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required. Madam Chair?
Yes.
While this is a non-action item, there are other components to this report that the board would be considering at the full board level. And so I am asking that the board forward this item, that this item be forwarded to the board without recommendation.
Thank you. Do we need a motion on your recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair, that would be an action item.
Okay. Could we have a motion, please? Director Peterson.
I move exactly what the secretary said.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Okay. Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director Peterson's motion to move this item, to forward this item to the full board without recommendation. Director Carr,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Aye.
Director Taylor,
Aye.
and Chair Herndon.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item 13, a report with possible action regarding the task force on strategies and guidelines to develop capacity in attracting, retaining, and developing bilingual teachers and support staff. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Will the administration please present this item?
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, the item before you is a report of possible action regarding the task force as related to attracting and retaining bilingual educators. Mr. Eduardo Gavan, as well as Michael Harris, is here with me this evening, and we're going to ask that Eduardo walk us through the report. Eduardo?
Thank you, Dr. Posley. Good evening, Chair Herndon, members of the committee. Eduardo Gavan, Regional Superintendent for the Southwest Region. The task force met monthly and presented to the board on March 16th of 2021. At that time, the board directed the task force to continue its work, with emphasis on 4 points. The task force continued meeting in April, May, and June in subgroups to focus on the points that were directed by the board. Task force had its first meeting of this year on October 28th, and the information was shared again on November 1st. The information we will share today are updates that were presented during that first meeting. The first task force point of focus reads as that the task force was a request to provide information on how Milwaukee Public Schools and the divisions, including MPSU, would provide support financially and otherwise to bilingual paraprofessionals who wish to become bilingually certified teachers. Specifically, what will the financial support from MPS and the specific out-of-pocket cost to future bilingual and world language teachers? To that end, there were informational sessions held to recruit paraprofessionals to go through that pathway to become teachers.
and to provide them information on how to do so and what their supports would be. They held virtual college fair, 9 colleges available to engage employees, and applications were accepted. Individuals with a bachelor's degree who are assigned as a teacher of record in an MPS classroom have the following options through partnerships with Milwaukee Public Schools. A K-9 post-bac program through Viterbo with the cost of $8,000, cross-categorical special education 4K through 12 through Viterbo at a cost of $7,000, and the Maestros de Mañana's Masters K through 9 ESL and bilingual licenses through Alverno, and that tuition depends on the amount of credits needed.
Go. All right, Chair Herndon and members of the committee, Michael Harris, Senior Director of Talent Management. And just to clarify on the program for the Maestros de Mañana program, there's 2 pathways. One is a employee who holds an associate's degree, which was the initial plan for that program. That program cost is $26,220 as it stands right now. That's taking an employee with an associate's degree to earn a bachelor's degree and the teacher certification in K-9, ESL, and bilingual, as Mr. Gavan mentioned earlier. They do now have a program where if you are a bachelor degree candidate, that program would cost $17,500, and that would earn that candidate a master's degree with those initial same licensure areas. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. I also wanted to just provide an update as we've been working with the bilingual staff in the district. The bilingual scholarship, which the board has allocated $200,000 per year to support bilingual staff, that application opened up on July 1st, and it was from July 1st through August 15th. We had 22 applicants that applied in various programs. We sent award letters out to all of those 22 applicants in a total amount of $53,890 being awarded at that time. Now in the hands of those candidates, they need to upload some verification information so that those dollars can be dispersed. However, we know we have 200,000, so we did extend the application. So that's been open since October 21st, and it'll close this Friday, the 19th. And currently we have about 11 applicants. We continue to communicate and really try to spread the word through word of mouth, as well as our Thursday update. We estimate that we will probably award another $57,000 if these individuals did not apply or hold a paraprofessional position in the district. As you know, we have a couple of buckets of supports for our staff. So we really try to maximize the bilingual because we know that there are employees who may be teachers looking to add on a license. And so we want to make sure that we're able to support them where they would not be able to access the tuition assistance for paraprofessionals only. So we are definitely trying to maximize those dollars. As far as the paraprofessional tuition assistance, we've sent out award letters in the amount of $187,000. So again, those folks are working to upload verification so that we can send those funds to the college or university in which they are attending. We are right now working to, and we've already identified individuals to serve as a bilingual scholarship committee. We're looking at having that in place by next year to ensure that folks know what the criteria is when reviewing the scholarships and making sure that it is aligned with the purpose and mission of what the board intended those funds to go towards. So we are putting that in place. Those individuals have been identified. The committee consists of a principal, a district administrator's bilingual teacher and a leader, and a retired MPS educator. So that will make up the committee for the bilingual scholarship. Currently, we have 2 cohorts, and I'll try to clarify this as best as I can. At Alverno, when the initial cohort was admitted into the program, they placed all, I believe there were 11, there's now 9. They placed all 9 of these individuals in the associate degree pathway. The problem with that is that 6 of them already had bachelor's degrees. They did not need to work towards another bachelor's. So those 6 individuals, starting in January, will transition into the master's program where they will earn their master's degree, including the 3 areas of licensure, in a shorter period of time. So we're excited about that to assist them with their growth. The other 3 members of that cohort will continue on with the pathway that they need, which is earning a bachelor's degree and the areas of certification. At the end of the day, these individuals, and with the board's commitment and the district's commitment, these individuals will only pay out of pocket $5,866. And as you heard Mr. Galvan mention earlier, the partnerships that we have with either Verturbo and with Alverno, we're keeping that range around $5,800 to about $8,000, depending on the program. So our employees can expect out of pocket at the end of the day, $5,866 for the bilingual specifically, up to $8,000 in other programs. And again, I just want to reiterate the cost at Alverno, it is $26,000. So the district is making a commitment of over $20,000 for each of the employees to earn their bachelor's degree with those areas of certification that we mentioned. Currently, we are also updating, and we just closed our survey to identify bilingual tutors in the district. I believe when we had our amendments meeting, you guys had allocated additional dollars to support that initiative. So we have reached out to some of our talented employees in the district to see if they were interested. We are looking to kick off the tutoring support sessions for basically any employee in the district that is in a teacher prep program, because if they need the support, it's our due diligence to make sure that they are successful. So we've reached out. We had a nice turnout. About 33 individuals responded to the invite. And so we're going to be holding an onboarding to talk with them about the guidelines, what we need to do, how we need to do that, how we will deliver those services. And so we're excited to be sharing that information shortly with all of our employees in these programs. The other piece I wanted to mention to just provide an update is all of our employees that are in either Verturbo, I can't say Alverno right now, but all of our employees in the Verturbo partnerships all have a learner agreement on file with the district, because it needs to clearly identify what the expectation is of the employee and what the expectation is around financial support, so forth and so on. And so I want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. We have put out a deadline for the Maestro de Mañana candidates that we need that learner agreement by November 30th. That's a deadline that we've had meetings with them. We've shared that the district will make a commitment of $20,354 on their behalf, and $5,866 is what they're responsible for. And this just really kind of outlines that. So in case something happens, everyone knows what the expectation is. So we are rolling that out there. Those employees that are responsible for that $5,866, that is paid back through payroll deductions while they serve as a paraprofessional in the district. That is $50 a paycheck, no summer deductions. Again, we're putting systems and processes in place because they were kind of lacking. And so please understand there was no learner agreement in place at the beginning, but we are working to make sure that people understand what the expectation is moving forward, because we know that the work that they're engaging in is important, and we need them on our team. And so we just wanted to really clarify that. We are looking at those payroll deductions beginning January 7th. and we've communicated that to multiple groups just to make sure everyone is aware of that. And again, the Maestro de Mañana is the only group that's outstanding in this case. But we want to just make sure that we're being very transparent with what those expectations are as we move forward. And then the next piece is around Administrative Policy 6.33. I believe the full board will be looking at that policy regarding student teaching, which we've been very talking to a lot of our employees about how concerned they were with that. So hopefully, based on the outcome of the meeting on Thursday, folks will feel a sense of relief and can really focusing on the teaching and learning and supporting our students in their schools and classrooms.
As Mr. Harris just said, Chair Herndon, Eduardo Galvan, Regional Superintendent, the task force point of focus number 2 is exactly that, regarding student teaching, and for our MPS employees to be able to complete that while still being employed with Milwaukee Public Schools. So we are hopeful that that will go through on Thursday, and then we can check that off the list of another obstacle that we've removed for our own employees to become certified teachers. Then the task force point of focus number 3 was how MPS public schools and departments, including MPSU, would offer courses for development of greater proficiency of English and other languages for future bilingual teachers. So these would fall under those supports that we would provide to all of our teachers who wish, or paras, or any other pathway that want to become teachers. And Mr. Harris did allude to some of those supports earlier.
Thank you very much. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Carr.
Thank you. Just one quick question, and thank you all for your hard work around this. I know it isn't easy, and I appreciate you all doing your due diligence to ensure that the process is comprehensive, equitable, and consistent across the board. My one question is there any specific information relative to HBCU recruitment, and are we offering tuition assistance to individuals who are being recruited for those positions to come back to Milwaukee and teach? That makes sense. Or I think I asked that wrong, but just
administration.
Director Herndon, Director Carr, members of the committee, Michael Harris, Senior Director of Talent Management. Yes, with the amendment that was passed, we actually identified dollars to be earmarked for those hard to fill schools and subject areas. My team in talent management are devising our plan. We're looking at those schools, HBCUs, that are looking at hosting some in-person. We know that the virtual is great, but really being able to engage folks face-to-face is going to really be key, especially when you're trying to have them relocate. And so we're looking at the team and reviewing who's holding what and how we can engage with those folks so that we can spend not just an hour with them, but a little bit more time to really talk about what we're seeking here. I think we believe it's very important that we identify candidates that understand the type of teachers and support staff we need in Milwaukee Public Schools. So part of our work is developing profiles for our hard to fill schools, because we know we have a lot of teachers in our schools that are hard to fill schools, but they stay and they succeed. And we want to find out what is the recipe for that, so that we can go out and actually market and really talk to folks about those characteristics that we know will have a lasting impact on the students in our schools.
Chair Herndon and members of the committee, one of the other things that we're looking at is looking at administrators and other staff teachers that we have within the district that are HBCU graduates to accompany the HR department on those trips, so that they could have those candid conversations and encourage those individuals to to the Milwaukee Public Schools as well. So that is going forward. So we're trying to identify graduates of each of those institutions.
Thank you. What a report. Does the committee, anyone on the committee? Director O'Halloran.
Oh.
Director Carr after that.
Okay, thank you. So I believe you said that we had allocated $200,000 for for tuition reimbursement, or maybe I didn't read that. I didn't say that correctly. We had allocated 200,000 in the initial application period. There was like 53,000 that was people applied for and was approved. We have another application period, 11 more applicants. So it seems like there was still some funds available. So I was wondering if that's if after the second application period closes, if there's remaining funds, are there ways that we can use the balance to support these students who are, going, or those that are going through this program, or is there a way that are we leaving any stone unturned in recruiting people for these type of programming? I just want to make sure that we're maximizing the budgeted funds and getting as many people certified as possible in these areas.
Administration.
Chair Herndon, Director O'Halloran, Michael Harris, Senior Director of Talent Management. Yeah, so we were really being strategic with these funds. So, and hopefully I will be clear on this. So we have the para tuition, right? And then we have the bilingual scholarship. And so we know that if we have bilingual teachers or
already certified
food service or bilingual staff, secretaries, things of that nature, we can utilize the bilingual scholarship to support them on their pathway. But if they're not a para, they can't access the para tuition. So we took those bilingual paras who could benefit from the tuition as well, took money from the pot from the tuition assistance and the bilingual. So that bilingual number, if we would have given them that number would have been higher. We tried to maximize it because we know we have a lot of other bilingual staff that may be interested in accessing these funds to become teachers. My hope is that we can continue to open. We just want to make sure we keep a nice window each time as we get the word out. We said we were going to open this application on July 1st. We did. We said it was closing on this date, and we opened it back up. And we just want to get folks consistent with that so that we can make sure we are timely in our communication back with them. But the goal is to make sure that we maximize these dollars and it does not sit on the wayside. So I am hopeful that we still got another few days before this window closed. And if we need to, and I know I've had emails from bilingual staff who said, I'm just 2 months shy of being here a year. Part of it is you have to be an employee for a year. So we know that we have some employees that are waiting potentially for March to roll around to potentially access some of these funds. And so we know that we just need to kind of be flexible, keep a schedule, but open it multiple times so they can have access to it. So we utilize all of it.
Thank you. Director O'Halloran, any follow-up?
No, I just wanted to say thank you also for the tutoring information that was raised to me as a potential issue by a former board member. So I thank you for this, all your efforts, and thank you for this update.
Okay, Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment on this item?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
What is the pleasure of the committee with respect to this item?
Madam Chair, this is a report with possible action, so no action is required.
Okay. If there's no further discussion and we have no need for a motion, Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, that was the last item on tonight's agenda.
Okay, there being no further business before the committee, this meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a nice rest of your evening.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.